So this is day one of the stretching challenge. We're going to try to stretch every day for the entire year. So what I'm going to do is stretch just 3 minutes a day. And what I want you to do is to get in the habit of stretching more than that, but just to show you how much progress we can make with only 3 minutes, I'm going to limit myself to only 3 minutes of stretching. Basically 1.5 minutes per leg. And I'm going to divide that stretching among the stretches that I'm going to show you. The goal is to find a stretch that you will enjoy doing, that is easy to do. I'm going to give you a lot of options, sitting, standing, laying down, and that way you can do these stretches throughout the day in many different positions. And so I'm going to limit myself to those 3 minutes, but I'm going to encourage you to stretch more often than that. So the muscles that we're stretching are on the back of the leg from the inside to the out. It's the semimembranosus, semitendinosus, and the biceps femoris. And these three muscles connect up to the butt bone, and they're the muscles that bend the leg. The problem is when they get tight, they stop you from being able to move. They also pull on the butt bone, which pulls on the pelvis and puts your back in a position that can injure yourself. The type of stretching that we're going to do, we're going to divide into two types. So the first is a low load, long duration stretch, which we're going to do to just let the muscles slowly stretch out. The second is more of a movement and what I call flossing, and it actually is more for the nerve, but it can also inhibit the muscle from being tight and allow it to relax. So the first thing we're going to do is talk about nerve stretch versus muscle stretch. We want to be careful with both, don't force anything, but I want you to know the difference. So what you're going to do is just sit down and see how much motion you have in your ankles. Now that's a fair amount. You should be able to get past halfway by a little bit. If you can't, then we're going to have to really work on your tight calf muscles as well. So just get a note of how much you can move there. And then we're going to lay down. We're going to kick your leg up straight and then try to move that foot up. And you'll notice that my foot doesn't go as far as it did before. And that's because I'm catching the nerve that comes all the way behind my butt, sciatic nerve all the way down and around into my foot. And you'll notice as you come up in this position, it's a very uncomfortable stretch, and you want to be very careful with that. Now I want you to bend the leg. This is the test position that we did, and just kick all the way straight, and you'll feel a hamstring stretch. So feel the difference between this stretch and this stretch, and you'll notice it's a lot more intense in this position because we're getting that nerve. So we want to stretch the nerve out. If we only stretch the muscle out, we'll get more range of motion, we'll be more likely to damage the nerve. But it's also just a good thing to stretch that nerve, free it up. So the first thing we're going to do is just get into that test position that we did before. And this is a very good stretch for the hamstrings. We can stretch that out, and then we can do a little bit of flossing, which is just gently pumping that nerve. And we want to do that at different angles. I can come all the way down here, floss it down there. I can floss it at 90 degrees here, and I can come up past 90 degrees, floss it, and also floss it here, where we're bending and straightening at the knee. Just gliding that nerve. And then we want to hold. And when you hold this, I'm looking for 20 to 30 seconds or even more of a hold. Now I'm going to cut it a little bit short for the video, but you get the idea. So hold that stretch, pump the foot, pump it down lower, pump it up higher, both at the ankle and at the knee. So that's pretty simple, pretty easy to do. The next we're going to do in sitting, we can just cross this leg in and reach down. Now because the hamstrings cross below the knee joint and up to the butt bone, the way that we stretch them is straightening out the knee, so we stretch it at the bottom, and bending forward at the pelvis, so we stretch it at the top. So we're pulling both ends away from each other. This is a good stretch. It's a very comfortable one. I like to do this, and I don't like to just sit and stretch. I like to do things while I stretch, so this is a good one if you're going to read a book. You can do this. If you're going to watch television, you can do this. You can sit on the floor and play with the kids. You can stretch this out a little bit. But we're going to stretch out, and then the good thing here is we can get a little bit of a pumping action on this one too, or a little bit of a calf stretch as we go. So we can double up our stretching. We can do 2 in 1. But we're just reaching down and we're stretching this leg, and then of course we would switch and do the other leg. Now there's another one that you can do while lying down, and what you're going to need, I use a scarf at home personally. You can use a belt, or you can use a sheet or a towel. So I'm not going to get kinky here. We're just going to get a little belt off here. So just a regular belt. We're going to go back to laying down. And this is just a little bit easier way to get the same stretch here. Just straighten out that leg and then pull it up in the air. Now again, I'm giving you lots of options. You pick the one that you like the best. Or it'd be even best to do a little bit of a combination of these. So, and again, we're just going to hold that for about 20 to 30 seconds. I'm not worried about the exact time. There was a large study done with stretching times, and they found that you want to stretch 20 to 30 or more, and that you get the most improvement with the first 2 to 3 repetitions. So I'm just going to stretch, lay off it for 3 to 5 seconds, and I'm going to stretch right back on again. So 30 seconds, 3 repetitions is 1.5 minutes. And then we'll do the other leg as well. So that's a good way to stretch, laying down and sitting on the floor. Next, we're going to progress to sitting in a chair, standing stretches, and then I'll show you one more sitting stretch to finish everything off.